Well, most parents believe that raising a child can be one of the most rewarding experiences in life, but it's not easy and sometimes it's a struggle.
Now, the pressure is placed on both adults and children of all ages can cause tension, making it harder to connect. So, Dr. Shefali is trying to help bridge that gap between generations with her new book, The Parenting Map. And she's joining us now to talk about it. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right, so we know this is actually your fourth parenting book. What inspired you to write it, and what do you want parents to really get out of it?
Well, what I teach is conscious parenting, which is like a revolution in the parenting movement. So my first books were really about the why it is so powerful, a movement. But this book is really the how to. You know, every parent wants the skills and the strategies, the manual, so to speak, but our children are not born with one. So this book is really how can a parent become the most conscious so that we can raise our children to be the most empowered, resilient, and secure.
Absolutely. Well, your book lays out 20 steps over 3 stages. The first stage we're going to talk about is from frustration to clarity. So what does that mean?
Well, most of us begin this parenting journey very confused because of the way the traditional parenting model set us up. So just to be brief, we were told that as parents, we needed to be in absolute control. And when we have this idea that we need to be in control, this puts a great burden on us. So we need to understand what our belief systems are, how they are limiting us. And one of the greatest limitations is this idea that we need to raise these perfect children and that we need to be in control, which never works out to our advantage. So we end up feeling very frustrated.
Okay, this stage also involves a step called In the Chase for Happiness and Success. This is what every parent probably wants for their child, but you say it's unhealthy. Why is that?
Here's why it's unhealthy. When we focus on these outcomes called happiness or success, what we end up doing is really limiting our focus on these very rigid goals, and we miss the process. You know, no human being can be happy all the time. And when we keep focusing on only one emotion, we actually teach our children to be uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. And children need to be comfortable. Otherwise, they're going to be very fragile and only want particular life experiences. Same with success. When we narrowly define success according to these narrow metrics of achievement, then again, when children cannot achieve that, they end up feeling this sense of comparison, unworthiness, and shame. So it's really dangerous to limit our focus in this way.
I feel like this is an adulting map too, really. So many of us need to hear this. Well, stage 2 is all about healing the parent. So why is that important?
Well, that's the core of my message in conscious parenting, which is why it's so different from the traditional parenting model. You know, the traditional model says fix the child, you know, cure the child. But this book and conscious parenting really focuses on breaking your own dysfunctional patterns. So I talk about the different ego patterns that we have. Are you a fighter? Are you a fixer? Are you a freezer? Are you a feigner, a fleer? And it's very important to identify these patterns because that's what will create the dysfunction and the disconnection with your children. And we don't even realize we're doing this. So in my work with my clients as a psychologist, I'm always showing parents, see, this is your pattern that is messing up your connection. It's not your child so much, it's your pattern, and you need to break that pattern.
Ooh, okay. So this stage also involves parents facing their triggers. What do you mean by that?
You know, we have so many triggers within ourselves from our childhood that we don't realize. But because we're so unconscious, we think, it's the child who's bad. For example, if your child is shy and you were, suppressed for being a shy child, you were oppressed, you were yelled at, then when you see your child being shy, you may be triggered. But it's not your child's fault. It's coming from your childhood. So I talk about how our triggers from our childhood impact our relationship in the present moment.
All right, let's go into the third stage, from conflict to connection. So what does that tell us?
Well, you know, most of us are not connecting to the child in front of us. And so the children in front of us grow up feeling, hey, no one is seeing me. I'm not valid. And then that child grows up and goes out into the world looking for that connection through their relationships, through alcohol, through food. And this is what I help parents prevent. If you can connect to the child before you, then you can help your child feel secure, feel validated, and feel seen, so that your child doesn't go out into the world wondering, who am I? Am I good enough? Am I worthy?
Okay, so Dr. Shefali, trying to follow any of these steps as a single parent could probably be twice as hard. So what is your advice out there for moms and dads that are doing it alone?
Of course, it's hard. And the more we have a tribe around us, the easier. But also, I often tell single parents that you have tremendous power inside you to really change the tide of your relationship. So instead of focusing on what you don't have, maybe it's easier to be a single parent sometimes than having conflict with another parent, right? So take the bright side, look at what you can do instead of all that you cannot. And by becoming a conscious parent, there's so much power to that you can heal the absence of that other parent.
Love it.
Dr. Shefali, it's so great to have you with us this afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. We would love to have you back. This has certainly been wonderful information.
Thank you so much.
And of course, to order Dr. Shefali's book, The Parenting Map, you can go to her website right there on your screen. She also posts parenting and female empowerment tips on Instagram and TikTok at Dr. Shefali. You can also read more about her in this month's Bella Magazine Women of Influence issue.